Here we go again with modern classics, and always like to start out by saying that I'm not an expert, really just showing off some guns in my personal collection, and really I'm just sharing my experiences with the weapon. And for me, it's just more than shooting. Shooting's obviously fun, especially when you get to try different ammo, different grains, different powders. I haven't got to that point yet where into the reloading, but that's on the list of things to do. So really what we have here is a CZ52. And before we get into it, just want to explain a little bit on modern classics. So the name came up for me several years ago. I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. Actually, I'm a certified Harley-Davidson technician. Been in the industry for just about close to 20 years. And, I get into all aspects of it, the history, but also when you break it down and it comes to the measurements and the caliber and all the speak and the language and characteristics of that personal weapon. So what we have here is a CZ52. It's a Czechoslovakian military surplus gun. This one was, I believe, was made in 1953. It was imported by Century Arms, actually right here in Georgia, Vermont. And this was holstered and comes with an extra magazine. So this pretty neat holster here. You got your extra magazine. And this caliber, actually, if you look at the bullet here, view there, it's a bottlenecked casing, so it's actually pretty close to a 30 cal, but it's a 7.62x25. It's a Tokarev. This particular round they ran in the Tokarev pistols and also this CZ52. I believe they also ran it in some submachine guns as well. But here's the piece right here. We'll make sure with any firearm that you're always handling it safely. So we're going to put the safety on. We're going to take out the magazine. Okay, then we're going to rack it. Just make sure that nothing's in there and it's clear. And on this particular firearm, you don't want to drop the hammer. The firing pins in the stock configuration, they're a cast piece, and when you drop the hammer, it could even be as little as a few times. It can make that firing pin brittle, and then the tip breaks off. There are aftermarket solutions. There's a company called Harrington's. I'm looking into gonna acquire one of those firing pin, a couple other pieces in the gun that I'll get from them as well. And to accompany that, also like to get some springs that they recommend. I believe they deal with Wolf Spring manufacturer, and we'll get a barrel spring for this because I heard the original ones they could be inconsistent, and you want to slow the slide down here, so you don't want a weak spring. So yeah, really just the way to break this down. We're going to release the hammer, so you got to put it in your fire position. Again, it's empty, so you want to hold your hammer and then slightly release the trigger, and then you can let it go. It also does have a decocker. If you push it to the up position, it decocks it. But they can be a little touchy and fire off around in here. So you really don't want to carry this particular thing chambered, and definitely don't want to be relying on that decocker because the gun could go off and cause severe injury. So there's a little trick. You could put a pencil down the barrel there and bring the hammer back, push the decocker, and if the pencil moves, then there could be a clearance issue here, and having the hammer actually detonate that trigger mechanism for the firing pin. So pretty neat gun. We'll break it down here a little bit, and again, this is just my personal collection. I liked it for the history and the ambiance, and pretty simple gun. The sights are real simple. You can adjust the back ones if you want to. But it's supposed to be a fast round. Faster than a 9mm. You can also run 9mm in here, which is pretty cool. And I was able to get a brand new 9mm barrel. Unfortunately, I don't have it here pictured. I didn't think about it before I started rolling here. But I will have the option to run the 9, and you can run the same magazines. So that's pretty neat, because this round here, it's kind of hard to find. Not super expensive. It's about in line with what you pay for like a 40 cal in that $20 range. Some are better than others. Not a whole lot of supply. Hornady does make a 309 bullet, which if I ever get into the reloading, then I'll just make my own. I don't know, there's some other people doing that, so there's that accessibility as well. So it'd be nice to have a nice hollow point, coming out of a built, loaded bullet. So assembly. Yeah. So pretty no frills. The grip, there's just this clip that holds it in place. You pop the clip off, just pop it out with your fingers there. These are Bakelite. They make some nice wood ones out there as well. Might look into that, but these just kind of pop out like so. And how you break this down, there's some takedown tabs right here. You just bring it back, pop that. Like so, and there we have the inside look at the slide assembly. So I'm going to put that down for a sec. We'll go over that in a minute, but that's your slide. Again, it's nice having these two little takedown tabs here. You just rock it forward, and that's the inside of it. So it's not a whole lot to it, right? Pretty simple. Some springs and everything, and here's your safety mechanism and your trigger assembly. So that's it. So yeah, got this cool holster. There's the gun. Came with a cleaning rod. So that's a neat little piece of history to have as well. And the magazines, they hold 8 rounds. Like I said, you can put 9 in here in the same magazine, and seems to work out pretty well. So the cool thing about this slide for me was that it's got these rollers right here that locks the barrel in place, and this is the spring I was talking about earlier, right there. If you can get a better look at it, we'll break this down a little further and show you. But I'd like to replace that spring. I believe the stock one is a 14.5 pound. Wolf makes 4 of them, I believe, a 12.5, a 14.5, a 16.5, and also an 18.5. And there's a lot of people that recommend just jumping right to the 18. I might just take one step from stock and go to the 16. But we'll see. Maybe I'll buy all 4, and that'll give me some room to experiment. Also with the 9mm barrel, I heard, because this is a hotter load, they pack more powder in here with this 30 cal bullet, and that maybe going down to a 12.5 on the 9 might be a consideration. So really the best way I found is using a punch. This one you can see here, flip it around for you, is a 3/16. Probably can't see it, but no big deal. It's a 3/16. But they say you can use the magazine to pull on there, but you can see there's only a little bit of room there to grab onto it. So the nice thing is you drop this down in here like so. You'll pull back. When you clear there, you can just kind of release all that out. You have these reliefs here on the side. This comes apart. There's your firing pins in here. We're not going to take that apart right now. That's where your firing pin is housed. Here's the spring. Here's the barrel. And this barrel actually spec'd out pretty nice. I read up on these quite a bit and found out that there could be a lot of variance in the size of the bore here. And this one actually measured out nicely. It's 309 thousandths, which is 0.309. And yeah, that's you know, gonna run just where it needs to be. I've heard these can be on the tight side around 307, and also can be on the real loose side up to about 312 thousandths. So these rollers right here, there's a pin that holds those in place. I'm not going to do a barrel breakdown right now. Maybe when I get my parts for the 9, which I'm going to get another one of these slide assemblies, upgrade these to the hardened rollers. I'm going to get another set of hardened rollers for the 9. Maybe, you know, while they're available, because you never know. Things always change. Get one extra set there just as a spare. So we'll get 3 of these rollers assemblies. Probably just one, maybe 2 of these slides. I think these are about 35 bucks. The rollers are around 20. So, you know, you could start adding up there in price. Next thing you know, you're spending 100 bucks easy. So, I don't have a video on this right now. I can always make another one to follow up, but just when I inspected the barrel, again, you know, I broke this thing down, took it apart, put it back together, took it apart again. I just get familiar with it, and then you just clean it. You know, you clean it thoroughly, understand it. You know, lube it where it needs to be lubed. You don't want to over lube anything. You know, just enough in the recommended locations, and you'll be good to go. But yeah, so I guess when we put the 9 barrel together, you know, we can make a little video on that and maybe compare the 2, or if when we upgrade these rollers. But basically what I did is I went to the shop and picked up a muzzle ball slug, and this particular one I believe was 315 thousandths. And basically you just put the ball in the end there. You take a soft mallet. You don't really want to use any metal mallets, just a plastic hammer. And you just tap that in there. You get a piece of dowel that fits in there. Picked up a whole, you know, a couple feet of it at Home Depot for 99 cents. You cut your length that you need. Put your muzzle ball in there. You seat it down in. There's going to be a little bit of the lead that breaks off. Just push that out of the way, and then you take your dowel and tap that through until you come out the other side, and you can measure the inside of your barrel. You'll see the rifling marks, and you'll see the high marks. And you want to measure the high marks. That's the important part. And again, like I said, I'll probably throw some pictures in there, but I came out with 309 thou. So that was perfect. The Hornady bullet is a 309, so that should be a good fit. And looking forward to shooting this. So I haven't fired this off yet. Just got it, cleaned it, and put it back together. And the surplus ammo I got, it's Interstar, I believe, and I believe it's old surplus stuff, and it was been sitting around for a long time. I think that it has corrosive primers in there. And it, anyways, probably, you know, just run through that, clean the gun real quick, and then get into like finding some better stuff. So there we have it, 7.62x25mm Tokarev CZ52. Nice old weapon here. So, and going back together, the barrel, it's really just the opposite. Put your spring back in there. Drop that in place here. Take your nice punch piece here, slide that down. Just make sure you get it down in there, and then it locks it back in place. And that's it. So that's how you do your barrel swap. And put this thing back together. Like I said, there's some notches right here that line up with some notches right there. And you just line those in there. Okay, till it clicks, and you're good to go. So that's it. Well, thanks for watching, and the battery's running low, so I'm going to cut it off here, and we'll look forward to the next one.